What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 16 of our Liverpool FC playthrough here in Football Manager 2016. Hopefully you guys are good. Today I've got for you a live come against Manchester United at home. Going to be a fairly big game in the league, but we've got a few games to cover since the last episode. It's been about a month and a half since the last episode, and there's been a decent amount of games. Of course, last time out we drew 0-0 against Sevilla, a really disappointing result. Since then, however, we have kind of bounced back to some extent. We've played 8 games, we've won 5, drawn 2, lost 1, so let's cover them. So the first result, following on I guess from that Sevilla result, was a 3-1 win against Brentford. Good performance, we kind of dominated the game. As you can see here, Barbosa, Firmino and Ings getting the goals for us. The very next game was a disappointing result, really. One of 2 draws that we've had in the league in this kind of run of fixtures, as we drew against Watford. Gael Kakuta getting a really big goal for Watford here from one of only 2 shots they had on target. We were very, very lacking, I guess, in the attacking department in terms of cutting edge. It's something that, despite the fact in a few games we've scored 3, we've scored 4, we've not had trouble scoring goals, there's certainly been 1 or 2 games where we've failed to break down teams, and that's something that you'll kind of see, I guess, throughout these results. I guess another one of these kind of games was actually in the Champions League, where we lost 2-0 against Benfica away from home. We had plenty of chances to win the game, but ultimately just didn't do enough with what we had, and it put us in a very precarious position where after 3 games in the Champions League, we had only got 1 point from a draw against Sevilla, which kind of put some pressure on us going into the next game. So, following on from that disappointing result, we took on Norwich, and that was a good performance here. As you can see, Henderson and Firmino grabbing the goals. We were in control for large spells of the game, but at half-time, for it to be 0-0, I was a tad bit concerned it was going to follow a trend of, I guess, a few of the other games we've had, whereby we just don't seem to be able to break teams down despite our dominance. Anyway, next result was one of those games where we didn't break teams down. It was the Capital One Cup 4th round. Of course, in the 3rd round, we relied on penalties to beat Brentford. In this game here, we relied on extra time to get by Middlesbrough. We scored from the penalty spot. We were very fortunate. Middlesbrough really impressed me this game, and we certainly didn't play a weakened team, at least significantly weaker team. There was some rotation there, and we got let off the hook just a little bit. But a win's a win, and we will be into the Capital One Cup quarter-finals. Anyway, next game was against Leicester. We won this one 3-1. Leicester are a team who have had some really nice additions to their team in this save, and they're not a bad team by any means. You can see here, it took 2 second-half goals from Benteke and Ings to keep us in it. And you'll notice here, Lacazette not getting many goals for us. He did turn that around towards the end of these fixtures, as you guys will see, but he did go through a little bit of a dry spell. Fortunately, the likes of Benteke, Ings, Sturridge have been contributing and left us in good stead. Anyway, the next result was a second game against Benfica, this time our 4th Champions League group stage game. As you can see here, we won 3-0, Daniel Sturridge getting a goal, Benteke grabbing 2. It was 3-0 at half-time. I kind of told the players just to slow down the play and take their foot off the gas in the second half. Condition has been something that we're still juggling with just because of injuries and such, but this was a good result, and it leaves us with 4 points from 4 games in the Champions League. And we still have a chance to qualify through, as you can see here, behind Benfica and Celtic, but we put ourselves in a much better situation. However, realistically, we're still probably going to need to win our remaining 2 games to stand a chance of getting out of our group. So anyway, the last result in this run of fixtures was against Southampton. We drew 2-2 here, as I mentioned, Lacazette getting a few goals. It was at home. It was a really disappointing game. To be pegged back twice by Southampton was disappointing in itself, but I guess the nature of the defeat made it a little bit more annoying. The fact that it was a game where we had a lot of chances, we had a lot of shots, but ultimately we got caught out twice, and James Ward-Prowse punished us for that. So in terms of where we sit in the league, we're currently in 4th place after 11 games, and as you can see here, we've won 7, drawn 3, and drawn 3 against Southampton, Watford and Sheffield Wednesday, which is disappointing. And we've just lost the one that was against Tottenham, who currently sit top of the table. So today we take on a Manchester United team really out of form. They've lost their last 2 games in a row. They're struggling on the road. They come to Anfield with a big task ahead of them, and I'm hoping we can get a win today to, I guess, put the record straight. So looking at our team and our tactics, you'll see here, unfortunately, we do have Maya out suspended. But other than that, only the one injury to tell you guys about is to Bazor, who has been battling a few injuries so far. He's still improving despite this injury. It's a back strain, so I guess he's still able to muck around a little bit in training. As you can see here, he's only played 4 games for us since he joined for £26 million, but so far he's had strained knee ligaments, a dead leg and a back strain whilst being at the club. I'm hoping that this isn't going to be a recurring thing. It's certainly not something that my assistants nor my scouts have picked up on the fact he's kind of injury prone. So I'm kind of hoping it's just a little bit of bad luck and he can put this behind him and hopefully settle into the team, because he's a very talented player at 20 years old and just a fantastic box-to-box midfielder. So, I think I have my team set up here. We're going to go with a fairly standard team. Our back four is pretty much what I consider our strongest back four at this point. It's Mignolet, Monreal, Sacco, Zuma and Rudiger. I guess Rudiger's the odd one out there. Normally I'd have Klein. We just have come off the back of an international break, and as you can see I have a lot of players struggling when it comes to their condition. I've decided to play Rudiger at right full-back support. It's certainly not his best role, but I'd rather have him play there than risk an injury with Klein, and with Zuma not 100% fit himself, the chances are that around the halfway point in the game we might have to take off Zuma, move Rudiger into centre back and then put Klein at right back. Other players struggling for condition, you can see Jordan Henderson not 100%, neither is Coutinho, neither is Benteke, and Witsel also struggling a little. But other than that, you know, we have a fairly good team. There's a few players here who I'm not going to be starting, the likes of Lacazette. I've decided to go with Sturridge and Benteke just because I think they're a little bit fitter and I don't want to risk any injuries, because, I mean, that is something that we've been suffering pretty heavily from this season. Good to see Witsel back in the side. Of course, he dislocated his shoulder. Not an ideal start to his time at the club, but he performed well in the few games before he got injured. I'm hoping we're going to see more of that from him in this game today. It's going to be a hard game, and I was looking back through kind of the results of live comms that we've done in this series. I've often live commed against the bigger teams, and there's always a risk when you do the live comms against the bigger teams that you end up losing, and you know things are going to be tricky. I'm really hoping that today we can put that behind us. Manchester United are struggling. They've got a few players out injured. And I'm hopeful that today we can get a good result at home. So let's get into the game. Michael Oliver going to be the referee here. I've already sorted out my team selection. I'm pretty happy with the team at our disposal. And as you can see here, this is how United are going to set up their playing game. 4-2-3-1. A very deep 4-2-3-1. So we're going to look to maybe capitalise on the space they're giving us. I'm going to tell the players that their favourites are to just go out there and give the fans a performance to cheer for. Just going to generally encourage the players for this kind of game. I'm always a bit hesitant to get players fired up for these kind of derby games, just because, at least from my experience, you see kind of a weird correlation between players getting fired up and red cards. I'm actually going to make one change that I noticed just as we submitted the team, and that's actually I'm going to move Coutinho to centre attacking mid. Move Coutinho into centre attacking mid and then drop back Firmino just to the roaming playmaker role. It's just a little bit of a logical change. I prefer to have Coutinho in that final third. Firmino is not great defensively, but he's still a little bit better than Coutinho. It doesn't even matter, he's now injured. But yeah, the bottom line there was I wanted to drop Firmino deeper just to help defensively because he's a little bit stronger than Coutinho. For some reason, with Firmino, I always call him Firmino. And if I say it in this series, I apologise if it annoys the shit out of you. It annoys me listening back when I hear myself saying it. I think it's just the fact he's a Brazilian flair player, so he should end in O. I'll tell you what though, Coutinho's just made me O. He's just scored a screamer. 3rd goal of the season, 11 minutes in, and we're off to a great start. That is what he's capable of in that centre attacking mid role there. Really nice goal. And that's been the first chance of the game. Moreno just knocking it down the line to Benteke, who threads it inside. I think this was a first-time effort by Coutinho. Left foot, bang. Pick that out. Was that De Gea in goal? Absolutely no chance. Just didn't anticipate that early shot. They're the kind that often in FM, I guess they just go flying over the crossbar, but that's not the case today. And it's gone into the net. Now, can we win it there? Sacco with a good win. Rudiger bringing the ball forward. Obviously not our normal right back, and he's not the best going forward for a full-back support, but if he needs to put in a ball, I think he'll do an okay job for us as we're on the attack here. Coutinho, thread through Daniel Sturridge, doubles our lead, makes it 2. That's his 3rd goal of the season, his 50th for Liverpool. Daniel Sturridge, it's fair to say, hasn't hit the ground running this year, and there's been times when I've not played him. In recent weeks, he's actually come to me and said, "Yo, Gaffer, I want to play more first team football. I'm not happy with how much you're playing me. And I've kind of told him, you know what, Daniel, I'm going to give you a chance, but you have to prove yourself in the team. And getting goals like that is certainly proving himself. Coutinho now with a goal and an assist to his name. And looking at the stats, we are dominant in this game, but we need to make this dominance count. There's been games like this against the big teams in this series where we're comfortable, we're a goal ahead. You know, we're dominating the game statistically, and then, well, we throw it away after half-time. But we're on the attack again here. Sturridge through. That was a great save by De Gea to, I guess, prevent further embarrassment. But we are looking really strong right now. 30 minutes in dominating. This is what has seen us climb the table towards the end of last year and certainly start this season so well. It's pleasing to be within touching distance of the teams at the top of the table, but also be in a situation where we're playing very well. And despite a few, minor hiccups against smaller teams, generally speaking, we've done well. We played Man City, we've played Tottenham. We still have Arsenal and Chelsea left to play at the start of this, I guess, first half of the season. Halfway through the games, we've still not played them. And they're going to be tricky games that I believe we will have to play them again towards the end of the season. I'm not sure what the next live com is going to be. I think it will probably be the last Champions League group stage game, if it has something relying on it. If not, the game following that is actually against Arsenal in the league. So who knows, maybe we will live-com that one instead if, I guess, Champions League aspirations are down the drain. But at the moment we sit third in our Champions League group, which is pretty pleasing. Looking at the stats here, United yet to have a shot on target. We are looking very, very good here. Pretty happy with how the team's going. We have a few players struggling because of their condition, kind of to be expected following the international break and just our hectic schedule. But that's something that's affecting Manchester United as well. So we have a set piece here. Is that another goal? Yes, it is. Was that Joe Allen, an unlikely hero, to make it 3-0? We are dominating Manchester United here at home, and this is pleasing. Van Gaal's job is probably in danger anyway. Who knows, maybe this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because they're in 9th in the league, and that, simply put, is not good enough for Manchester United. And, well, I'm delighted. We are playing very well. They've brought on James Wilson now. I'm actually going to bring on Lacazette, I think, for Benteke. Despite the fact Benteke has 2 assists, I just want to give Lacazette a run out. He's been in some okay form of late. As I mentioned, he struggled for goals just a little bit, but he's still our seasonal top goal scorer with 8 goals. I think he might also be top of the assist charts. He really has been a key player for us. Even when he's gone through his dry spell of not scoring, he's been really assisting and setting up goals. So we're going to chuck him on here. Give him a little bit of time. Obviously, 2 goals in his last game, so he'll want to prove himself here. Hopefully continue in that vein of form rather than that preceded it for the previous kind of 5 or 6 games before the Southampton brace. But with 15 minutes left here, we're looking comfortable. Very, very happy with this performance. This is the kind of performance that I was really hoping we'd have more of last season. But we didn't. And Wilson on the attack here. Let's not let him get a shot away. He's already had one little chance. And Mignolet, good save there, but fairly comfortable, really. We have one last change. Do we want to make it? I'm going to take off Daniel Sturridge and bring on Gabriel Barbosa, the young German. What am I talking about? The young Brazilian. Give him some game time. He needs that time to develop. But there's only 4 minutes left of this game, and it's looking like we're going to finish this up 3-0. I really want to keep the clean sheet. I'm hoping that we can kind of, lock this down now. There is not long left to this game. It's been an incredibly impressive performance, and it looks like it is going to end 3-0. Maybe a late chance here from a corner, unfortunately cleared away. But that is a fantastic result. I'm absolutely delighted with that. They're the kind of games, and this is the kind of game that is going to see us finish top 4. United not in the best vein of form, but we've capitalised on that. We actually go top of the table for the time being because this is an early kickoff. But that's pleasing. I mean, there's not a lot more we can ask. As I mentioned, we're in 4th in the league, but actually, if you look at it, it's so tight at the top 4. One win here, as you've seen, has seen us go top of the table. So we still have perhaps some title aspirations. I don't think I ever really talked about what our board expectations were for the year, so we'll cover them now just real quick. So in the Premier League, they want us to finish top 4 again, like they did last year. FA Cup, they want us to reach the semi-final. Capital One Cup doesn't matter. And in the Champions League, they want us to reach the first knockout round, which is not an easy kind of task as a 3rd seed. But we still have a chance of doing that with a few games left. So as I mentioned during that live com, I think the next episode we'll be back for will be fairly soon, and it'll be that game against Sevilla, and then maybe we'll do the Chelsea game just on Boxing Day as kind of a next game. They're kind of nicely spaced out. Hopefully we'll have something to play for in that Champions Cup game, and hopefully I'll see you guys for that episode. So yeah, that's going to wrap things up from me. If you have enjoyed this video, guys, please smash the like button. Let me know what you're making of this series so far, as always. Really appreciate your guys' viewership. We're about a season and a half through this series now. You guys are loving it. Really appreciate all the new viewers as well who have come over for FM16. You guys are awesome. And yeah, thank you to you old guys who have been sticking around. So that's going to wrap things up from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always. And other than that, it is me, Jack. And I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.